My name is Nikki Loney from Full Voice Music. This is our first ever live office hours, and today our topic is about helping singers to develop singing confidence and pitch accuracy. And for those of you who are here and have registered for this presentation, oh my goodness, I have 2 pages of questions about supporting and celebrating and honoring our students who are developing pitch accuracy. And I have a lot of teaching strategies. My goal today is that you leave with a bigger teaching toolbox and more strategies to bring into your studios to celebrate your students. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to language around pitch. And I have been reminded by many of my friends, and I want to shout out to Dr. Shannon Coates, I want to shout out to Dr. Ginevra Williams, to Liz Jackson-Hearns. We are working towards creating safer spaces for our students and honoring the learning process, honoring beginners, honoring the vocal instrument. And language is currency. Language is powerful. So when we say someone is struggling with pitch, although that could be accurate, and I stumble, I say this a lot, that means that somebody has a problem that we need to fix. But if we say they're developing pitch accuracy, they're just in a learning, they're just starting a learning, they're learning a new skill. And it changes the way we approach our students, the way we approach, the way we teach them, the way we encourage them. And so students that are developing pitch accuracy, we have strategies, we have a plan, we have ways to make the learning process enjoyable for them. Whereas struggling with pitch means we have a problem and it might not be so fun for us or for them. So language matters. And I also wanted to remind people, just for the record, and so that this language and this term is removed from our vocabularies, the term tone deaf not only is inaccurate, it's also inappropriate. It is an ableist term, and it brings shame and embarrassment. And although it can be used casually, and I want to share this example, I've had parents come to me and say, oh, I'm so glad that you are teaching my daughter because her father and I are tone deaf. And I always try to remind families that that's actually not true. There's lots of opportunities. It's a learned skill. You learn to throw a ball, you learn to sing. And I try to reframe it in a non-confrontational way, but to remind them about the language that we use and that we want to encourage and inspire our students, not diagnose them. So that's one elephant I wanted to address. And the other elephant in the room, and one that I'm really passionate about, is you're here today because you want to know how to serve students that need this information and need this support. And I am so honored that you are here. It was not that long ago, and still to a certain extent today, some people will turn away students who are struggling with their musical ability or developing their musical abilities. And that was common practice. And I know that every single one of you, if you've been teaching for any length of time, has had that student come to you who has been told or was told that they were not to sing and that they should mouth the words. I know, I see people nodding. Yeah. How challenging is it to work with these people when they have been silenced for so long? how much support and how much work do they need to do and go through to just discover their voices? So if we are inviting young singers into our studios, we have this beautiful opportunity to not silence their voices, but to help them find their voices. And it is important work. It is so important. And I will also add, if you have students in your studio now that are in grade 3, 4, 5, who were in school in the early, pre-K, kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, during the pandemic, they did not have singing in school for a number of years. So now more than ever, you may see older students that are not, that need this support, that are needing a little, they need a safe space to discover their voices. So there's a little bit of catch up that we can help our students with. So I am so glad you're here. The team at Full Voice Music, this is what we live for, is creating resources that help teachers to honor and celebrate. And I am going to share a lot of the research and how we use these materials, and I'm going to dive in. So, and I saw some comments come through. It's true, there's so many adults that have been told that they cannot sing, and that's been their whole life of not being able to, or having the confidence to sing and do something that they love. It makes for a lesser experience, I think. Now, a lot of you were asking in your questions about helping students with confidence, and confidence and pitch do go hand in hand. Absolutely. So I want to start off with some activities that can be modified for all ages, but I'm going to reference it with children. One of the teaching strategies that I think is often missing from vocal lessons, especially if you studied at a higher level, I certainly did not have vocal lessons that included this, but vocal exploration. And if I know several of you here in the meeting today have been to Full Voice workshops, and you've seen me go into my play-based learning spiel and everything. Vocal exploration is exploring the voice without the narrative of right and wrong. As soon as we sit at a piano and we play notes, there is a narrative of right or wrong. Either you sang that pitch or you did not. So before we get there, a wonderful activity and something that is a beautiful warm-up is vocal exploration. Now, some of our students might not even be ready to vocalize pitch-wise, so we start with vocal exploration of the speaking voice. And this is why I love rhythmic chants. Rhythmic chants are little poems or little phrases that are easy to learn. There's no sheet music. You don't even have to have a lyric sheet. They're taught by rote, and they allow our students to start using their speaking voice in a more dramatic way. And for some students, that is a wonderful first step. Now, I'm going to share two of my favorite vocal chants, rhythmic chants. The first one, and these are traditional, I didn't write them. The first one is a great big cat. Now, if I'm working with a child and I see that they are not quite comfortable in my space, one of my learning stations that I highly recommend is sitting on the floor on a carpet. This is a far more grounded space for children, especially children that are nervous. Plopping your students beside the piano and making them sing or speak out into your room can turn that fight or flight switch on, and it's not necessarily a safe space for some of our students. And FYI, I've had a lot of adults, not that I make them sit on the floor, I make them sit on a chair, but sitting sometimes can be a more safe place. So with children, I like to get onto the carpet, and that way I'm at the same height that they are at, and they are it's a far more secure space. Now, before I start any teaching of instructing or teaching or giving them, getting them started with a new thing, I always pique their interest. I always want to connect it to something that they know, that they love, that they can put a picture in their mind. I call this anchoring. So, great big cat, easy peasy. Do you have a pet at home? Do you have a cat? Do you know a friend that has a cat? What color is the cat? Is it a big cat or is it a little cat? And we talk about that so that the student has a picture in their mind of something that they know. Play-based learning is connecting what children already know and using that to bring in new information. It's far more friendlier, and it allows them to share information that they know and things that they can tell you, which is a wonderful exchange. So while we're often in a hurry to get to the vocal exercises and the meat and potatoes of the lesson, those little conversations are essential because it lets them tell us the things that they know, the things that they love. So we have a little conversation about cats. And I used to tell my students, well, we have two cats, and one is a skinny cat, and one is a great big cat. And that's how I lead into this rhythmic chant. And it's simple. And I'm going to be very dramatic because right now you're all my students. All right? So you're not going to throw any shade at me. So I would go, a great big cat and a wee little mouse ran round and round the great tall house. But that wee little mouse got caught at last, 'cause the great big cat ran round so fast. Now, there's a couple of things at play here, and I don't expect the kids to memorize it off the first, but the gestures are a wonderful invitation for students to start to understand and get into the story without vocalizing, and it helps to get them into the story. So when they go, a great big cat, right, and a wee little mouse. So then I would just take that first line and I would ask them to repeat it for me. And I'm just assessing quietly, not making any corrections, well, obvious corrections. So if they go, a great big cat and a wee little mouse, I might say, is it a wee little mouse or is it a wee little mouse? And I'm going to tease them and try to get them to try those higher pitches. And again, I'm watching my students. Are they smiling? Are they engaged? Are they curious? Are they getting into their bodies? Are they having fun? And I'm going to try and just encourage them. And the beautiful thing with vocal exploration and rhythmic chants is that there's nothing really to correct. It's just an exploration. For my older students, the big cat might be a little juvenile for some of my older students. So the one that I love is the Pepsi-Cola. I don't know if you know this. So it goes, Coca-Cola went to town. Pepsi-Cola knocked him down. Dr. Pepper fixed him up, turned him into 7-Up. So, again, you're all smiling. You're like, that's funny. And I thought it was hilarious. So the kids usually laugh. We have a conversation about what is your favorite drink. And there's always a kid that says, well, pops are bad for you. And I respect that. Yes, they are. And I always say I don't drink them very much. But when I do, it's like Orange Crush. And it's not in the song. So, or in the chant. So rhythmic chants. Now, rhythmic chants can be used to explore diction. Rhythmic chants can be used to, I use the Pepsi-Cola one for beat and rhythm. Pepsi-Cola went to town, or Pepsi-Cola went to town. Now that's more of a musical, like, again, you can apply foundational music skills to all of these rhythmic chants. And all along, you're just giving them little encouragements to go to more extreme vocal gestures, dynamics. The great big cat is wonderful for dynamics. A great big cat and a wee little mouse. And if they want to whisper, I let them whisper. and we explore those dynamic volumes. So rhythmic chants I use a lot as a transition. It's a great warm-up. You know, sometimes we get our students in our studios and they do not necessarily feel like bursting into singing. They need a little bit of time to kind of get into the space and comfortable and shake off the day that they had at school or the fight they had with mom on the way to the studio. That happens a lot. So they're wonderful transitions and lots of exploration. Now, the other type of vocal exploration, and I have shared this a million times. I know many of you have seen this, but I will never stop sharing them because it is gold and it has never failed, ever. And I have been teaching for 30-something years, where I'm not even going to the details. And I know what you're thinking. She must have started teaching when she was 5 because she just looks so young. Vocal roller coasters. I called them vocal expression lines. My students changed it to vocal roller coasters. If your students change the name of any of your activities, you go for it because they are taking ownership of it. It's becoming their activity. They can do what they want with it. And also, they often kind of come up with better ideas than I have. So, full disclosure, Full Voice Music basically takes a lot of ideas from our students and just publishes them. So, we pay royalties to the kids, don't worry. Now, vocal roller coasters, very simple. This is, I mean, whiteboards are magic. Did everybody know that? Did you know that whiteboards are magic? If you are having a bad day, if your kids come in and they're in a miserable mood and you let them write on a whiteboard, you, my friend, are a hero. Sometimes when I'm having a bad day, like when I talk to my accountant, I come in and write on my whiteboard. No. Anyhow, so vocal roller coasters are very simple, but they are powerful and so effective. So again, you're all my students. I would say to my student, I'd say, okay, Laura, I'm going to draw a line on the whiteboard, and I draw a crazy line. And I say to them, I'm going to sing this line. I'm going to use the vowel E, and I'm going to demonstrate. E. Now, I always see the faces light up. I always see the, oh, I like this. And I say to them, would you like to try it? And then I give them the opportunity. Now, this is where I'm assessing. Did they closely get into the same pitches that I did? Or did they want to stay more closer to their speaking range? Now, I'm not gonna make comment to them about that. It's just something I'm gonna put in my brain. Then I might take a different color line and draw it above and go, okay, I'm gonna draw this line and I'm gonna demonstrate a higher sound. Woo! And I'm gonna see if that encourages them, gives them permission to sing a little bit higher. And if it doesn't, it's still okay. I might need a different vocal roller coaster. Sometimes I'll say, you know what? This is not like a scary roller coaster. This is like a kiddie roller coaster. When you go to the amusement park, you're going to do this roller coaster. And I'm going to, again, encourage them, engagement, fun, play. Now, one of the best strategies that I have utilized with children that are nervous is role reversal, where they become the teacher. This is brilliant because it gets them off the hot seat. And it also gives us an opportunity to model something that we might want to see or something that they might want to try. So this is what I'm going to give you a heads up. When you go, would you like to draw me a roller coaster to sing? First of all, children are evil. I don't know if you all knew that. You're going to see the look on their face. I live for this look on their face because it's like, oh yes, lady, I do want to give you a roller coaster. And this is what they're going to do. Right? They're going to, my markers are dying. They're going to scribble all over that. Right? And you're going to go, whoa, oh my goodness. You know, that looks like a lot of fun. That looks so cool. I'm going to try that. I'm going to do my best. Oh, Ellie just said, been there. Yes, I know, they're evil. But I'm up to your challenge, child. So I'm going to, this looks like fun. See the language that I'm using? This looks like fun. Ooh, thank you for challenging me like this. See that language there? Celebrating. Oh, I like this. And then I'm going to go, ooh, and I'm going to make funny sounds, and I'm going to go all over my range, and I'm going to go really low, and I'm going to go really high, and then we're going to laugh and laugh and laugh. And that is going to break down some of the walls. That is going to show them that we can explore our voices, that we can sing high. There's no right or wrong. I am just exploring. Now, for those of you who are thinking that this is just for kids, I have done vocal roller coasters with adults with profound breakthroughs. Singers that have spent their lives staring at the piano, wondering if they are going to hit that note, do really well when you take them away and just let them explore. And the comment that I get from adults has often been, I had no idea I was allowed to do that with my voice. No one gave me permission. And then I remind them, you don't need permission to do anything with your voice, friend. So there's some beautiful work that can be there. The other one that I love for assessment, just a little, one of my favorite things to do is legato and staccato singing. I draw a straight line and then I draw some dots. And we pick a vowel, a word, whatever, and they sing it. And what I'm actually doing is assessing their onset. How are they naturally predisposed? Like, how do they want to use their voice without me getting all up in their business? And no, I'm not going to lecture them about onset. I don't even use that word with children, but I just want to see how they are gravitating to using their voice. And then my favorite phrase, if you take anything away from this workshop, I wonder what would happen. I wonder what would happen if. I wonder what would happen if we put some H's in front of that and we went he, 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 he. He. Ooh, that was cool. Oh, I liked that. What did you think? So I wonder what would happen if is a beautiful phrase that opens up exploration and support. And again, you as the teacher, you're assessing. You're making all these assessments. This is going to give you far more opportunities to choose exercises that are appropriate, or I'm not even going to say appropriate, that student can explore to continue learning. There's no best exercises, by the way. There's always outliers. Dr. Ginevra Williams talks about that all the time. Everybody's looking for best exercises. Exploration and finding what's best for that student takes time. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to them. It might take a while for them to show you how they want to use their voice. It might take them a month, 2 months to just get comfortable in your space. Now, vocal exploration can also be things like animal sounds. So again, if I have little ones that are really shy and are tending to like be a little quieter, then we might meow their exercise. And actually, I make my teenagers meow when we're working on registration and going over breaks. So meowing has more than just beginner applications. So vocal roller coasters, animal sounds, expressive sounds, right? Woohoo! Yay! And if you have a singer, again, this is where we are watching our students. If you have a singer and they are very hesitant to do an expressive sound like woohoo or hooray, then see if you can tease them a little bit. What would it take for you to be so excited and so happy? Like, would it be tickets to the Taylor Swift concert? Would you go, yay, thanks, Mom? Or would you be like, wow? And then you give them something in their brains to think about that they would add the emotion to it to make it emotive. Would it be a snow day? Would it be a day off from school? Would it be vacation? Would it be Disneyland? Would it be $1 million? I'd take all of those right now and I would go, woohoo! So, expressive activities, fun activities, cat sounds, animal sounds, even things like semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. On our website, we have a singing spaceships, and they're just little pictures of spaceships. Asking a child to do a tongue trill or a lip trill just for the sake of is kind of unkind. But if you put a visual with it, so what does this spaceship sound like? There's a visual and there's a sound effect. So if you have students struggling with lip trills and tongue trills, make them imagine something and make them be a sound effect. That often changes the focus of the exercise right away. So that kind of takes into our vocal exploration. Does anybody have quick questions? And Mim, I've got the chat here. Anybody have any questions about vocal exploration, chants, speaking, any kind of fun things to do? I think we're okay because I'm gonna move on. All right.
Questions came up in the chat while you were talking.
Woo!
It was just so great.
Thank you. Friends, that was my colleague and dearest friend, Mim Adams. I forgot to introduce Mim. Mim, I'm going to unpin myself. Hang on here. I'm going to remove the pin. Mim, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm like watching the chat really carefully for stuff. Yeah.
Mim is like my right-hand man and keeps me on task and is really good at telling me when I'm wrong without making me angry. So I'm forever grateful for that. We all have to have a Mim in our lives. No, Mim is, Mim, somebody says she loves your jazz exercises.
I saw that. Thank you, Catherine.
Okay. I want to move on to more specifically, okay, Nikki, yes, we talked about exploration, that's great, but what about when we do get into the pitch matching activities? So, pitch matching, and I'm going to use the a little song from our Songs and Studies Introductory B. And if you registered for this workshop, you would have gotten a copy of it. So Baby Bear is just a simple little melody that I might use with a student that's just getting started. And again, I'm going to start the conversation about, do you have a favorite bear? What, do you have a favorite bear? Oh, you like panda bears. Oh, panda bears. I love panda bears. I love koala bears. Oh, yeah, koala bears. So you have that conversation. Again, we need to anchor this to something that they know, right? Play-based learning, taking what they know and introducing new concepts. It makes it far more comfortable and helps to alleviate some of the anxiety around learning things that are new and scary. So I would have the conversation about bears and I would say, well, this bear is actually from a specific place and you probably know where that is. I want you to listen to the words and I'm going to sing it to you and you listen to the words and maybe you can tell me what type of bear this could be. So, and then my friends, this exercise is done away from the piano. I'm not referencing notes. I am using my voice. So I would go and I would sing it probably on the floor. And so I'm going to sing the little song. If you didn't get it or if you don't have it, I would teach this by rote to my students anyhow. So I would go extremely slow and I would sing at probably a mezzo piano type volume. It's a softer song. And I got to take my glasses off. So I would sing, Baby bear, the snow is deep. Baby bear, go to sleep. And I might just do that first line. And I'll be like, where is this baby bear? Somewhere where there's snow. Oh, And we might have a conversation about, does your bear know where snow is, or something like that. So we would just talk about it. And then I would repeat a smaller part of the phrase. Baby bear, 3 notes, mi, re, do. Now, I'm going to address one of the elephants in the room. I know there are different camps in regards to solfege. There's the I hate it, I want nothing to do with it, I think it's silly and a waste of time. There's the people that never learned it but who are willing to try it, and then there's teachers that use it all the time. So I'm going to just take the solfege out of it for now. But if I was doing voice-to-voice training, I would just take those first 3 notes. Baby bear. And if my student chose a starting note that was different, and quite often it's going to be lower, and they go, baby bear, I'm going to say, I like your note better. Let's go there. And we go to where the student wants to sing. And you might have to play find the student and match back and forth. That's okay. You're going to go slow. Baby bear. And I'm slowing down. And I'm using my hands, right? I might ask my student to use their hands. Baby bear. It's one of the reasons why we like solfege, because solfege is a visual that can help students to relate to the pitches in their body, right? Then we would go back and forth. Now, if they are singing the wrong note, and this was a question that came up, how do I keep supporting them without making them feel bad that they're singing the wrong pitch? It's so important. Thank you for asking that. So if we would just go back and forth. They need to hear that sound and have a couple of goes at it. Baby bear, maybe they go baby bear, then we go there, baby bear, and we just repeat and repeat with smiles. We slow down. One of the things that I have found to be most effective is softening the voice and asking them to sing softer. Can we try that softer? The baby bear is trying to go to sleep. Now that's an emotional response, right? Baby bear. So I would go back and forth. Gestures are beautiful and very helpful. And what's really interesting is watch the gestures that the child prefers. If the child prefers to go baby bear, then maybe I model that, because maybe where I want to gesture, right? Somebody asked, how do you address this with a small group if there are different pitches happening? You kind of have to just you can't fix all of them at one time, and you're just going to allow the kids to try it. And if you can, in a small group, give everybody a few minutes of one-on-one. You can't always do that. That's why I always kept my small group classes smaller, so that I could nurture the voices and give everybody a little bit of one-on-one time. So when we would go through and we would add on, and we would sing this again, and then we would just take our time. And that is so important. Now, I do want to say, for those of you who are like, well, if I play the piano, they'll find the pitches faster. Okay, here's the thing about piano. I know some of you are like, no, that's not how it works. Thank you. The piano is, if you play one note on the piano, there are overtones, harmonics. It is a complex sound. It can confuse little brains. Not little brains, all brains sometimes can get overwhelmed by those sounds. The piano is not the sound that the student is trying to make. They need to hear your singing. They need to hear their singing. They need to make mistakes and know that they're in a safe place. They need to hear you make mistakes. So please, 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 whenever possible, voice to voice exercises. And this is why you want to do the vocal exploration first, because sometimes pitch challenges come from singers who aren't comfortable going outside of their speaking range. So if you've done the vocal exploration work, if you've done the vocal exploration work with a chant and they have been speaking in a bigger range, and then you move into vocal exploration with the roller coasters and they have been going out, you are more likely going to see more success when you're working on specific pitches because there's not that hesitation to those sounds that they're not used to. So, does that make sense? Is that helpful? Slow and steady, tiny little fragments, hands, movement. And sometimes that's the gestures. If you're using gestures in a song, if you're teaching a song that has gestures, the gestures can assist in helping them find the pitches. So, any questions about small fragments, voice to voice work? I think we're good. Awesome. All right. I see people writing a lot. This is good. And I see smiling and nodding. I love it. I love it. Okay. Let's move into some of the other questions. Actually, quite a few questions were about singing confidence and volume. Ooh, lots of challenges there. But of course, I have some fun things for you to try. So first and foremost, again, vocal exploration and speaking exploration is going to help explore the different qualities of sounds. And when you are exploring volume, there's a couple of things. So first of all, volume is subjective. Very, very subjective. So your singer, in their mind, might think that they're singing very loud when they're not. So again, language and also visuals. So one of the games I used to play with my small group class, again, getting them into their bodies, is the singing volume-o-meter. That's what I used to call it. Actually, no, the kids called it that, and I just took it from them. So I would demonstrate that this is my singing volume-o-meter, and when I sing and I get louder, it goes up here. And I might go, ah, and I might do something silly. Maybe I sing a big, loud, high note, ah, and we play with volume. So I get the kids to do that and show me, what do you think? Again, exploration. What do you think a soft sound would sound like? Like, where do you think that sound is on your volume-o-meter? So now you're getting a better idea of where they think their loud sounds are and where they think their soft sounds are. And you're exploring, of course, you're exploring breath energy. That's not the focus of my instruction. It's just about how loud and how soft. And then, of course, I want to talk about this volume might be too much volume for singing, and we bring it back. So sometimes you have those singers that sing really, really loud all the time. So maybe we talk about the volume meter being over here. And again, we do it in a play-based way. We don't want to make them feel bad. So this volume-o-meter, we explore different sounds. And then we can play different games. I can ask them to tell me where they think my volume is, right? I role reverse. They are the teacher. You tell me how loud I should sing. And then we play with that. That is a wonderful visual. The other thing that I have done in my singing spaces, and I do this with my studio is online now, but I do this with my online students, is I will ask them to find a focal point, and I said, okay, you are going to sing to whatever, that picture on the wall, that thing. One of the things that I use, especially with kiddos, and this can help with confidence, they're little stuffed animals, right? Stuffed animals are support creatures, and I don't have a problem with my little ones bringing them into the studio. My first small group class had 5 terrified little singers. They did not want to sing out, and one extrovert. And one of the little girls would not show up unless she could bring her stuffed dinosaur. And when all the other girls saw that she brought her stuffed dinosaurs, then they all had to bring their stuffies. And at first I was like, this is horrible. But then I realized that the stuffies could be used to my advantage. So the stuffies became the audience. So you bring your stuffy, the stuffy goes on the desk. You're going to take a couple of, I got to make sure I don't unwire my microphone here. You take a couple of steps back from the desk and you are going to sing to your stuffy. Oh, right? And then you can explore volumes. Well, we're going to sing a little bit softer because maybe the stuffy wants to go to sleep. Or maybe we take another step back and we're singing to our stuffies. The stuffy becomes the audience. That's an easy cue and a wonderful thing to tell them to do at home. When you go home, you are going to sing for your stuffies. So, and I had kids like in my 8-9 class, 8 years, 9 years, that they brought in their stuffed animals. Like they are important support creatures. So using a prop or an item in your studio that they have to sing to is a wonderful visual, right? Now, there's a couple other little caveats that I want to put to volumes. First and foremost, if you have a child that is anxious, I think it's important that we ask our students, how would you feel or would you like to sing louder? That's an important question, because if they don't feel safe and that is not something that they want to do, then we can do other things and we can focus on something else and encourage them we want to respect their wishes, right? So sometimes students don't want to sing louder. Sometimes their brains are telling them they are in danger and they are trying to protect themselves. So if you have that opportunity, if you really see them resisting singing out due to hesitation, you might need to do some play-based learning. You might need to leave it for a little while. Now, I do want to talk a little bit. Some people was asking about like pop sounds, because kids will overuse vocal fry, right? So there was a couple of questions from teachers about registration, chest voice, head voice. In a lesson, again, I would like to encourage teachers that sounds do not have a moral compass. Sounds are not good or bad, they're just sounds. And when we are exploring our voices, all sounds have value. All sounds can be useful in certain situations. When our kids want to sing, pop music and their favorite songs, we want to let them explore that. We want to give them that opportunity. Now, I will say this: if you are teaching contemporary styles, contemporary singing is microphone singing. So children will try to, and adults, try to emulate the sounds that are created by singers being very close to microphones. So when Taylor's singing that really low part from Anti-Hero, it sounds really loud in the recording, but she's singing it very softly to a very expensive microphone. So a lot of times, some of the problems that our singers are having is they're emulating amplified sounds and they're trying to emulate it acoustically. So allowing them to use a microphone to sing those lower sounds can be very helpful. So those, and yes, the Taylor Swift stuff for little ones can be problematic because it is rather low, and you all need to say a prayer for my poor husband who plays guitar and has played every single Taylor Swift tune, but not in the original key because we always transposed the keys. So anyhow, little side note, yay for Sean. Anyhow, so exploring the sounds, lower sounds, letting kids explore chest voice, head voice, all the sounds in a safe place, in a friendly place is so important. And it can take years for us as our voices are growing, as the larynx is expanding, to get the coordination for registration. It's forever ever changing. And we can partner with them, continuing to allow them to explore those sounds and to celebrate all of their efforts. There was one specific question I wanted to get. I had it highlighted. How do you get students to practice matching pitch at home? That is a great question, and you're probably not going to like my answer. So, when we are just getting started with singers and when they are learning this new skill, it may take a lot of teacher-guided review before they have the confidence and the awareness to take it home and actually do something with it. Now, children process information a little differently. So when you say you introduce Baby Bear, and they kind of have some fragments of the song, and they've done it just once or twice with you, chances are they're going to go home and they're probably going to be like coloring at the table, and they might start to sing it a little bit. And then maybe when they're going to bed, they might sing a phrase here and there. Their brains are processing all of that information, and they need an enormous amount of repetition before it's really secured. So our thinking about assigning homework sometimes is a little skewed. We introduce a concept, you're going to take it home, and you're going to come back and we're going to move on from that concept into something new. That's not going to happen with our littles. They need repetition after repetition after repetition. So for my little ones that are just getting started, the practicing, air quotes, that I tell parents that I want them to enjoy singing at home. Maybe they sing in the car. Maybe you put on music and they want to sing in the car. Maybe they're singing at home. Do they have a place, or can you encourage them to sing at home? It's not going to be about correcting, and I am never going to ask parents to manage the pitch and learning songs for a little one. That's not fair. That'd be like my son's baseball coach telling me to coach him on his fastball. Like, not going to happen. Well, I mean, I'm going to yell at my son, but I'm not going to give him any helpful information. So when it comes to practicing, know that patience is the key, because the child needs to have multiple repetitions. So that's always my question in my head when people say, I'm having a problem with students, she's struggling with pitch. Like, are we talking like a month of lessons, like 4 lessons? Are we talking 6 months? It can take a long time. And again, remembering that our young singers right now are missing about 2 to 3 years of hearing and singing. So it could take them quite a bit of time. And the last thing we want to do is compare them to other students in our studio. That's just not fair. They need different activities. They need different encouragement. They need a different approach. I want to wrap things up. We have a prize for, actually, let's see. Mim, should we give away 2 prizes, do you think? I think so.
You gotta, after you say that.
I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I want to thank everybody for these beautiful questions. These questions, by the way, help us when we are developing our resources. We look at stuff like this. How can we create resources that address these challenges? This is important stuff for us. So we have, and we'll let the winners choose. Either the digital version of Songs and Studies for Kids Introductory A, that's a $90 product, or Introductory B. Okay, so I actually had my our printer, Katrina, who is delightful and has been with us since day one. I asked her to send me one of the Songs and Studies packages. So if you are looking to save a bit of money, if you're looking for the book copies, first of all, Introductory A and Introductory B, if you buy the package, has flashcards for fun. It also has cute little stickers. So what is the difference between A and B? That is a fabulous question. A lot of research went into these two levels, and Introductory A was developed for your little ones who are developing pitch accuracy. The ranges are smaller. The songs in this are repeated A sections. That's how the form of the songs were composed, and I worked very closely with Donna Rodenizer on this when we were developing the songs. So they are easy to learn, and they are easier for young singers to memorize. Introductory B, the songs are a little bit longer, and they have an A form, so that it's a little more complex. It takes a little bit of longer. There's still lots of pitch-friendly developing skills in here. And but that is the difference. So if you have a young singer like 6, 7, 8 that's just getting started, that needs help with pitch, I would start with Introductory A. If you have a little one that has some experience, that is has very well developed pitch accuracy, you may actually want to start in Introductory B. So that is the difference between the two books. So absolute beginners needing help with pitch, and beginners, but they can handle a little more challenging repertoire, and by challenging, it's still age appropriate. So I hope that helped. Did that help, Stacy? And again, if you're on the website, the teacher bundle has the little bonuses in there. Those are awesome. So are we ready? Are we ready to draw the draws?
I think so. So one more check. Everyone just make sure your name is on there and message me right away if it's not. Okay, so no new messages are flying in. All right, I'm going to spin the wheel. Woo! Here we go. I'm clicking the button. Woo!
Woo! Yay!
Yay!
Celestina, you can tell us if you want A or B too. You can choose which one you want, so we can, and we'll send that out to you. All right, Mim.
I'm going to remove Celestina for our second spin.
Oh, that's probably a good idea. That's fair.
Here we go. Number 2.
Jasmine! Awesome. Awesome. Make sure you tag Mim in there, and we'll get, oh, I see messages down here. Awesome. So make sure, if you were a winner, please, actually for our 2 winners, we'll keep you on the Zoom call, but I am going to sign off. But first I want to say, before I say goodbye to everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for creating spaces where your students can discover their voices. Thank you so much. Your work is so important, and one of the challenges that we face when working with beginners is we don't see that progress that just seems to go A to B. There's a lot of work before we start to see the benefits, and sometimes we may never actually see that student become more confident in class. We might not see that student now has the courage to hold their hand up and answer a question in class. We might not be able to see that, but it is so, so important. So we celebrate you. Full Voice Music is in your corner. We are cheering you on, and I am so, so happy that the conversation around supporting singers and creating these spaces is changing, and it's inclusive and it's fun. I love this. I do want to say that we will be doing a live office hours every month, and next month we are going to have Dr. Ginevra Williams joining us And we were probably going to be talking a little bit about changing voice, but she will be here to answer your questions, and we're going to do the same thing. We'll have prizes, lots of questions. So I hope to see you then. And to everyone saying thank you in the chat, thank you so, so much. We're so thrilled. And I'm wishing everybody an incredible season of singing. As always, inspired teaching and happy singing. Thanks, everyone.